to Plank Goodness. Today is day 27 and it's rest day. I'm Leanne and we're at Transformations Yoga and Pilates Studio. So today for our rest day, we're going to look at two postures. One that really opens up into the front of the thighs and can release lots of tension into the sacrum. And there are lots of levels to this posture and you're just going to find what works good for you. Also, to know that any of the postures that we looked at in our rest days, that you can do them every time after each plank challenge that you do. That you can just add them into your repertoire, right, to release tension. And of course, use them anytime, any day. So we're going to get started into this lovely little posture where you're going to come up onto the knees, take your knees wide and your toes together. Now granted, there are going to be some of you that this is not going to be possible for you to either open up the ankles like this and have the toes point back, or even close off the knees. So that you might have to have the toes here, and then you also might have to have a blanket between the backs of the knees. That will stop the knees from closing off, but you're going to start to stretch through the front of the thighs, right? I say that because as we progress into the posture, you're going to feel this a little more and then come into the hip flexors. So you gently come back and you start to notice how you're feeling here. So most of us have a great deal of tension into the front of the hip flexors, all of that coming from sitting, and that really resonates into our low back. That's where we see it. We think we have low back tension, but a lot of that tension is actually coming from the hip flexors going right through the body. So you might want to just stay here, right? Or you could use a pillow or a bolster like so, and you could come down and rest the forearms onto the bolster like this, or even the arms up like this. Or you could have this, and I've got a blanket behind me. I'm going to leave that blanket. See, it's kind of elevating this a little bit. And of course, you could have it completely elevated. But for those of you who feel that you could come down very safely and still keep your knees on the ground and not coming off, that you might be able to come down here and then maybe rest the head and have something behind the body. So if that, of course, feels good, then you can come down lower and you're just feeling gentle stretch, gentle tension that we're trying to release through the front of the body. You should not feel like those muscles are screaming at you or screeching at you, right? So we're going to allow ourselves to come up. And then there's a few of you that might feel very comfortable, and put something behind your head. It's nice to have it behind your head or behind the low back to come all the way down onto the mat. And when you do this, you can press your upper arms into the ground to open up the chest. The more the chest opens, the more the lower lumbar spine is allowed to curve inwards, and then you just relax. But this should feel like glorious. After you do a plank challenge, it'll feel a lot nicer. And that you're allowing this to open up so that your neutral or natural curve of your lower lumbar spine is being able to express, right? And you only hold it to where you feel comfortable and you can still breathe. So no pain, no big bad stretch, because we don't want to hurt the body. And then once you do that, then you're going to come forward, pulling the belly in, reaching the arms in the front, and then relax the forehead down. Right? So you're just counterbalancing that posture there. So then after we come into that, you can then resort to coming onto the back, allowing your right leg to come in, and if you feel comfortable through the hip flexor, letting that left leg reach out. You want to think of those shoulders, they're just drawing back and down, and I have a blanket behind my head, but sometimes you won't have a blanket behind your head, and you'll feel that your chin kind of goes like this. It's like too much tension, right? You want to be able to feel the back of the head lengthen on the mat so that the chin comes in and that there's lots of space between your neck and the floor, right? So if that's not happening, putting a blanket behind the head can make a big difference. You can feel your shoulder blades just draw back and relaxing. Right? And that's just releasing tension into the lower lumbar spine, bringing balance through your hips, your ribs, and your shoulders. And then you can try the other side. So that might be here, or that might be here. Taking the hands underneath the knees really helps to stretch into the backs of the inner thighs and into the low back a little bit more.
You don't have to be in a hurry to take the hands up into the knees, but if you would like into the shins, you're closing off the knees. But once again, has to make sure that that feels good for the knee joint, right? So you're just gently drawing back and noticing how you feel. Think hips, ribs, shoulders, lengthening out, relaxing the muscles of the face. Right? You can do these stretches anytime, anywhere. Wonderful for after your plank goodness challenges. Or maybe you just want to do this when you're going to go to sleep at night or just before you get up in the morning. So you can add these anytime, anywhere. I hope that you feel good that you were able to practice these stretches with me today for our rest day. I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow, and for more of our plank goodness and for videos to come, you can always subscribe. I hope you have a great day. Peace.